Okay, so today we have Brian Moran, and he's going to be talking about the 12-week year.
Hey, glad to be with you. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for being on the show today. We're really excited to figure out how we can get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months.
Awesome. Awesome. I can help you with that. You come to
Oh,
the right place, Jolene.
awesome. So, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how the 12-week year was developed?
Sure. I have a background in kind of corporate America. I started with UPS, paying my way through college. They offered me a promotion, moved to Southern California, got in with PepsiCo, joined a consulting firm, ended up as vice president of sales for a billion-dollar retailer, and then went out on my own and started a company in health services that I still own today, just not involved day to day with, but we do on-site medical surveillance. So we take mobile units and physician and staff, we go to workplaces and we do screening and stuff like that. But what I realized, what I really love to do is the training, coaching, teaching that I was doing as a consultant. And so I started the company I currently have a couple decades ago, working initially with local leaders and then expanded that. But as we were doing that, we really kind of figured out early on that people didn't need a bunch of new ideas. The breakdown was in execution. Mm. So we started working with what does it take to execute at a high level? And in doing that, we came across a concept called periodization, which is an athletic training concept. And we took that, we saw that had applicability. And so we took it, we adapted it to move beyond athletics and really work in a business setting and a personal setting. And so that's where the 12-week year was born, where our clients, our organization, we work as every 12 weeks as a year, where there's a hard line in the sand. There's a deadline where we're going to measure a success or failure. There's an opportunity to look back and learn from that, and then take some time off and celebrate, and then reload. So it's a different way of thinking. It's a completely different way of operating. Because Jolene, one of the things we found as we were working with our clients is even though we helped them with annual goals and we broke them down quarterly and monthly, weekly, they were getting good results, but they really weren't getting what they were capable of. And it was that annual environment that was really the bugaboo in that. And so the periodization, which led to the 12-week year, allowed us to really get out of that environment where the mindset is, hey, I got plenty of time. All throughout the year until you end up November, December, and then people move into panic mode. So we saw that as an impediment to people performing at their best. And that's where really the 12-week year was born.
So kind of like Christmas shopping, right? We don't start in October. We wait until December 20th to get it all done. And then we're in panic mode.
Exactly. Or cramming for the exam in college or school.
Yeah, exactly. I love what you said about the execution part. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan, and he says, knowledge isn't power, execution is power. And so often we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't necessarily execute on that. So how does the 12-week year kind of bring all that together where we put our plans and successfully execute on it to reach the goals that we want to reach?
Yeah, I love that, Jolene, because that is the gap. It's the knowing doing gap. I mean, if people just consistently did more of what they know without learning anything new, they'd have better health, right? They'd have better relationships, they'd make more money. And so the 12-week year is an execution system. The whole thing is designed to help drive higher performance in whatever level you apply it. In whatever area, through more effective execution. So there's a set of disciplines and principles that drive that. And then the 12-week year is sort of the supercharger on it, because it creates some urgency day in, day out. Not the stressful stuff that people are feeling right now to get their Christmas shopping done, but a healthy sense of urgency where more of the important stuff gets done day in, day out.
Right. Yeah, I love that concept. And so I've actually gone through your training, which I thought was very useful and really great. And our team loved it. We loved how the breakdown made it simple for us to be able to kind of look at what we're doing every day that is ultimately leading to whatever the goal may be, whether it's the week or the month or the 12 weeks. So in that process, one of the things that I thought was really interesting was how you guys changed your definition around accountability. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, in fact, that's our next book. We've got a contract with Wiley. It'll be out next year. And the reason we're doing a whole book on it, but there's two really good chapters in the current book, is that most people equate accountability with consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, virtually everywhere you hear the word in society, it's affiliated with bad behavior, poor performance, negative consequences. And yet that is not what accountability is. We would argue that accountability is not consequences, it's ownership.
Yeah.
And it's part of accountability is free will choices, the recognition that we always have choice. And we may not like the choices we have, but we always have choice. And when you begin to understand accountability as choice, as ownership, it's a game changer in every area of your life. In fact, I would argue it's probably the most empowering concept you have to live the life you're capable of. And so really helping people demystify what accountability is and isn't, and move away from this notion of it as consequence. Consequences matter. They shape behavior, but it's very different than accountability.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it takes the negative connotation out of it when you hold people capable versus even just the word accountable, because that tends to bring a little fear load with it.
It does, because that's the way people have experienced it, right? Anytime someone said we're going to hold you accountable, what's happened with that, right? There's been some form of negative consequence, some punishment or threat of punishment anyways with it.
Sure.
And we've all experienced it. That's not accountability, that's consequences. And again, they play a role, but accountability is really that ownership, and no one can take that from you. Viktor Frankl talked about, he was a prisoner in a concentration camp in Germany in World War II, and he talked about how he still had choice in that. When they stripped him of everything, he still had a choice of whether or not to give him his dignity and things like that. So you still, in the most difficult situations, you still have choice. Now, we don't all have the same choices, right? Some people's choices look better than the ones we're facing, but we all have choice. And well, that's a powerful thing.
Sure. And sometimes it's just a matter of choosing to look at things the way we're looking at things, just changing the perspective that we have around something. Is this the end, or is this the beginning?
Right.
Is this, a crisis, or is this an opportunity? So, yeah, that's a great concept. So kind of talk a little bit about, summarize what the 12-week year would look like for someone kind of implementing that in their organization.
Well, it looks very similar whether you're an individual or your organization. It starts with developing a compelling vision. That's the first discipline. That's the most important part, because that drives everything. And not even in an organization, it's not the organizational vision we start with. We start with the personal vision for the individual, because the business is part of that. And then we move to the organizational vision. Then we bring that near-term, build a 12-week tactical plan. So one of the things that's different with the 12-week year is how the plan is structured. It's much more granular. It's more focused. So you're not overwhelmed. You're not diffused. And then we apply process control, meaning we install tools and events that the organization can lean on. So it's not a matter of just self-discipline, right? That I just have to, kind of gut this through every week and get it done. There's process and there's tools that help you work the plan even when you don't feel like it. And then we're measuring, but we're not just measuring the results, we're scoring the execution, which is the greatest predictor of your future. Because think about that. We don't control the outcomes, we control the actions.
Right.
I might want a new house. I might want a new car. I might want another, $1 million in sales. I don't control that. What I control are the actions. And so with the 12-week year, we're going to track the outcomes. We're going to score the execution. So we know on a weekly basis how each of us are executing, to what level we're executing, somewhere between 0 and 100%. And what's really cool about that, and you know this because you've used it, that if we're 80% or higher, in most cases, we're going to accomplish the 12-week goals. So it's not about being perfect. It's about being more consistent with the things that really matter. And then we align our time with the stuff that's in the plan, so that we're intentional about what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to. We're not just taking the day as it comes. Otherwise, we're not in control of our destiny. We're very intentional about carving out time to work plan items, carving out time for voicemail and email, and the lower level stuff that really doesn't move the needle. And those are the disciplines that the 12-week year is built upon. So whether you're applying it as an individual or you're applying it as an organization, and it doesn't matter what industry, we've worked in every industry. The only difference is the content of the plan. The process is the same. what it takes to execute doesn't change.
Right. And I love the time blocking situation. As an executive myself, you have things flying at you left and right all day long. And if you are not intentional about your time and really block time for the things that, that 80-20 rule, right? So what's the 20% of things that you're doing that's really creating 80% of moving the needle, like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great concept. And your software is incredible. I love how the scoreboard kind of it really helps introspectively be able to see, okay, time control, right? Where did I spend my time this week and how much of my time was spent on what really matters? And that can be applied. Like I've looked at your software and the concept of my own health and my own family and relationships and, my own personal goals and anything in life. What is it that we are doing that is getting us to that next level, right? We, like you said, we all know what we need to do to lose 10 pounds, but we have to execute and actually do those things or those 10 pounds aren't magically going to shed.
That's right. That's right. So, most people use the 12-week year in their personal life as well as the business because in some cases, Joel, and it almost works easier there because like for me to lose weight, I don't need to get a whole team of people involved.
Right.
It's more in my direct control. And whereas driving sales numbers or coming to market with a new product or something like that, I'm leaning on other people. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just sometimes you'll see in your personal life, the results come online even quicker with the 12-week year than they do from a business setting.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about what your company offers around this 12-week year for our audience that might want to know more?
Yeah, happy to. You can start with the book. You can get it on a website or you can get it on Amazon or wherever you buy your books. Our website is 12weekyear.com, the digits 12weekyear.com. We have, if you're new, we have a couple freebies. We have a getting started course that 3 different emails walk you through vision planning. There's an intro video series. That's a couple videos there that help you understand it. From there, we have Fast Start Training or the Power Pack, which has training videos, has access to the software. And then for the first 12 weeks, there's a daily video that's like a minute or two just to keep you on track. All the way up through one-on-one performance coaching. So depending on where you're at and what your appetite is and how much you want to engage, we have online training programs all the way up to one-on-one coaching.
Great.
And all at 12weekyear.com.
12weekyear.com. And what a great time for people to actually start looking into that and getting engaged as we start a new year, right? Or a new quarter, right? Because a lot of people set those goals in the new year. So this may be a good tool for them to start breaking their year down into 12 weeks as we approach 2021, especially since we have a lot of unpredictability on the future of what things look like. So
yeah, and you've seen the stats on New Year's resolutions. I mean, they don't work. One, because
right.
People don't think through the cost, the sacrifices going to have to make. 2, they don't have a detailed plan. They have no process. And so if you're serious about your goals, whether that's losing weight, whether that's paying off debt, whether that's building your career, whatever it is, the 12-week year is the best system to help you get there. It really is. We have tens of thousands of people that have used it to change their life.
Well, it's definitely changed my life, made a positive impact, not only in the work field, but also in my personal life. So I appreciate you spending some time with us today and kind of sharing a little bit about what the 12-week year is. And we'll make sure to have a link on this podcast to the 12weekyear.com if you're interested in learning more. And just thanks again for your time and for joining us today.
You bet. Thanks for having me.